So in this lab, we will be seeing about artifacts. So as I was telling you about what is an artifact? An artifact is nothing but an output of a build. So in our last labs, we have seen the var file or a EAR file which is generated out of our Maven project, which is going to be called as your artifact. So what is artifact and how do you save it and where it is getting saved? So by default, Azure DevOps provides you an artifact repository storages. So log into dev.azure.com with your email ID and password and just go to any of our projects. And here on this last option on the left hand side, we can see this artifacts option. Okay, so this artifacts is nothing but it has two types. One, to actually have an external feed, or you can call it as a dependency management for your project, which such as npm, maven, NuGet, and all those areas. And another artifact is nothing but output of your build. So this artifact is nothing but it is according to your organization. You can choose it and you can connect, or you can create a feed first. Okay, you can create a feed as demo feed, and I can just choose a members of this, or I can choose a specific people to use it. I can create that particular feed. Okay, and then I can click on connect to the feed, and here I can see list of all the feeds available, which is NuGet, Visual Studio, npm, maven, and other areas. So if I'm going to use a maven package, I can just click on maven, and if you see, this is where the coding that has been given. If you remember the maven repositories, it has two things. One is snapshot repository, another one is release repository. So similarly, I can add it as part of my pom.xml to actually get it stored or get it saved over here automatically. And this I need to add it as part of my settings.xml in the maven. And when I type maven build and maven deploy, automatically the code will be deployed on this particular artifacts. Okay, if I wanted it for npm, I can click on npm, and this is where I'll just get an option to add it to my npm repository. If I want it for NuGet, I'll be getting these things. Okay, so this is going to be your artifact storage over here. Like if you similarly have used Nexus or JFrog, it is going to be the same types. This is one type of artifacts where you can include it as part of your code and then get all your output saved into your artifacts. Another artifact is going to be your inbuilt artifacts in the pipeline. When we see this, any pipelines, when it runs, this is going to get published over here, and this is also called as your artifacts. So this artifact is nothing but it is output of your particular build, and in this case we are actually storing var file as your output, and this also will be indirectly saved in Azure DevOps, so that you can see how much of this is being consumed and other areas. And this output of the build artifact is going to get passed on to your release pipeline for your deployment. So basically Azure DevOps has two artifacts. One, you can include it as part of your program for third-party dependencies and everything. Another, the artifact where your output of the build is getting stored and it is passed on to your release pipeline. So these two are part of your Azure DevOps. Okay, and how do you actually know how much of the storage and everything that you have used for these artifacts? You can go to this project settings. Okay, and then you can see how much of this artifacts are getting stored and how much of your space is getting used and other areas over here. Okay, so this artifact symbols and other areas where you can actually get stored, and you can see how much is being used for me for this particular projects. Okay, or you can even go to this organization settings, and under artifact storage you can see how much of the storage have been used. So this is for your entire artifacts, how much of the GB I'm getting stored and how much of the pipeline artifacts I'm using and everything. Since our last pipeline artifact is just 3 KB, it is not actually showing over here, but if I'm using it on a regular purposes, I can see how much of this I'm getting used, how much of the drops I'm getting used and other areas. So I can monitor it for an entire organization, or I can monitor it for my particular projects as well. Okay, so this is just an value add information as part of your artifacts lab. So if you guys have any doubts or anything, feel free to reach out. Thank you.